हरिः ओं श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Namaste, friends, and a hearty welcome to today's 65th session of our series Gift Gita for Inner Freedom and Transformation. February 12th is the Jayanti of Guru Ravidas. He was a mystic poet saint, a prominent figure in the Bhakti movement during the 15th and 16th century CE. His devotional songs and verses had a lasting impact on the Bhakti movement. He was a social reformer, his teachings advocating social equality, justice, dignity, and respect of all, regardless of their caste or social status. He believed in Nirguna Bhakti and advocated devotion as the means for spiritual liberation. 41 of his devotional songs and poems are included in the Sikh scriptures, the Guru Granth Sahib. On this devotional note, we start today's session 65. Param Vedanta teachers will cover verses 46 to 50 of the 11th chapter, Vishwaroopa Darshana. Arjuna, ecstatic and at the same time fearful of the Vishwaroopa of the Lord, prays to Lord Krishna to resume his pleasing form with Gadha and Sudarshana Chakra. Bhagwan Krishna, while assuring Arjuna not to be fearful, resumes his pleasing personal form. These verses shall be explained by Srimati Shamala, Dr. Sachin, Dr. Rekha, Kumari Vindhya, Sri Vinayakan, and Dr. Komal Prasad will moderate today's session, introducing the day's topic and providing key insights into each of these verses. Over to you, Dr. Komal, sir.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। We are seeing Vishwaroopa Darshana, and we have seen Arjuna going through a series of emotional changes. Once he saw the Vishwaroopa Darshana for the first time, which he was craving for, he was wonderstruck. The first emotion he had was of wonder. And then seeing all the aspects of Vishwaroopa Darshana, which includes good and bad, so which are necessary part of Vishwaroopa, which is there. It's a culmination, it's a combination, it's an amalgamation of everything what we see in the world, which has an aspect of God, the Lord, within it. When we see the better part of it, it's natural to get wonderstruck and be happy about it. But when we continue gazing that Vishwaroopa and see the other aspects, the death, the misfortune, the unpleasing aspects of Vishwaroopa Darshana, then that aspect of fear, emotion comes out. This is what happened to Arjuna, and unable to tolerate that condition, he will be asking Sri Krishna to please show him back his original form, his human form. And I want to just see you as before, wearing a crown, wielding a mace, holding the chakra. And now, because he is seeing the thousands of arms, he asks from that cosmic form to come back in that normal condition, normal being which he was exposed to all these years. So this is the stage which we are going to see now. What we have seen is that the lesson what we learn is that the aspect of Arjuna in us, who is wishing to see Vishwarupa Darshana, needs enormous preparation. And without that preparation, if you are exposed to that Vishwarupa, it is natural that we get into that kind of fear, worry when we see both good and bad, the evil part, which is an essential part of Vishwarupa Darshana, which will be particularly the death, destruction, which happens. As we can see, just silently observe this small video which I am going to play now. See those figurines on the plate, which will be just now, will start to rotate. You could see it's that just that plate, and it's that play of that persistence of vision when we are focusing on one place. We see those figurines assume a kind of motion which gives birth, grows, becomes strong, then get elderly, then slowly get into the jaws of death. This is what Arjuna sees, hundreds and thousands of people getting into, gobbled up by the jaws of death. That's the other aspect of Vishwarupa, essential aspect of Vishwarupa, which scared Arjuna. Why did it scare Arjuna? What we have to learn here is he was not ready to accept in its entirety. He wanted to see that beautiful form of the better part of Vishwarupa, but he was not yet ready to accept the death and destruction aspect. Like every day when we open the newspaper, each of us will be exposed to a sort of Vishwarupa, a mini Vishwarupa. And what is our habit? Each one will have our own habit. Some people will start with the sports page. Some people will directly go to the appendix, that supplement portion. Some people will be just opening their horoscope. Some people will go to the cartoon section. Some people will go to editorial, what has happened, geopolitical situation. And some people will try to see the crime news, what was the social security around them, anything, any incident happened, accidents, uh, other bad things, which will all be covered in first page, second page, like that. And some people will want to avoid any bad news. Even they will be hesitating to hold that part of the paper which will have obituary section. So this is normal phenomena. So we have that option of seeing what we want and neglecting, avoiding what we don't want. So this is our Vishwa, and this is our day-to-day samsara, in which we are highly selective about what we want, what actually uh, pleases us. We will pick and choose. We will avoid all other aspects which we don't want to. Whereas the newspaper is just a fact, a reflection of everything around us, like that Vishwarupa, what Arjuna was exposed. Every news, good or bad, without any iota of uh, the opinion, the editor would have put it as matter of facts. And we choose only to see what pleases us, and we neglect those parts which we don't want to see, forgetting that it's just a piece of paper which contains information reflecting what is actually happened around us. So for a person who is trying to use it as a cover, none of this news, whether it is obituary or film section, makes any difference. Like the person who is fully mature enough, who sees this as a play, as a transient play in the scheme of things in which the Lord has created the universe around us, he gives equal importance or equal non-importance to every good news as well as bad news. So that kind of uh, asangatva, so the like detachment to the world around us if we have, then we can stare at every page of the newspaper with equanimity, and there won't be any change, and that will be the actual Vishwarupa Darshana. It's a natural for people to get inculcated into the habit of reading newspaper. For children, we will encourage, let them in the initial stages, let them just go to the cartoon section, let them go to the film section, whichever pleases them first. Let it be a single point agenda. Like some people who want to get married will be just focusing on the matrimonials. So different phases of life, they will be interested in different portions of the paper. That is totally acceptable. That is the stage in which Swamiji says that's the Ekarupa Bhakti, where it is allowed that to initiate the process of involving yourselves, immersing yourselves into Vishwarupa Darshana or the whole paper Darshana. It's okay to start with Ekarupa Darshana, Ekarupa Bhakti. But eventually, once you get ready, get prepared, you should understand that the whole universe is a manifestation which does not give any specific importance or less importance to various facets of its manifestation, whether it's good or bad, beautiful or ugly. Everything is manifestation of the Lord. That is Vishwarupa Darshana. Animate, inanimate, past, present, future, war, everything is a part of Vishwarupa. So we need to get mature enough to see that Vishwarupa around us. When we have that Divya Chakshu, each one of us will become part of Sri Krishna, because through the Divya Chakshu, when we see the world, there is no ups and downs, there is no good and bad, there is no beautiful and ugly. Everything is seen with equanimity. And if we are not ready, if we are not prepared, still that tinge of that preference and reluctance will be there, and that's when that fear component comes. Unless there's a total surrender to every manifestation of the Lord as Vishwarupa. So if we have that raga and dvesha, it's but natural to want to see only what we are pleased with. So that's why that this is the time when Arjuna gets into that fear aspect, when he foresaw his own brethren, his own relatives, his own uh, friends getting into jaws of death. That's when he wanted to come out of that, take out the Divya Chakshu, and that's when he asks Sri Krishna to take out his cosmic form and get back to his normal form which he was used to. In school dramas, parents will be concentrating only on their child, whether he is playing a king or a gatekeeper in front of the palace. So they will be only focusing and they about the child, taking photographs. Like Ekarupa Darshana, that's what every day we do. When we are in traffic, we will be looking in Google Maps only about the traffic in our road, in our way of commute. We are totally ignorant and we are least bothered about what is happening in other part of the city. Similarly, these parents, you can see they will be concentrating, focusing, taking photos. And as soon as that his job as a gatekeeper or that guard is over, they will silently walk out. The show will be going on and on. The Vishwarupa is continuing, but people who are only in that Ekarupa Darshana, who are satisfied with that, so they won't be seeing the cosmic form, the overall in its entirety. In Adi Shankaracharya, the movie by G.V. Iyer, which was in early 1980s, a wonderful movie, the first movie which was made in Sanskrit and highly acclaimed, which encompasses most of Adi Shankaracharya's teachings. In the end, towards the end part, when Shankaracharya reaches his later stages of life, he will be walking towards the Himalayas, which is the portion which signifies his death. There will be two people when all his disciples are left back. There will be two people who will be symbolizing one, the moksha, and the other person who will be symbolizing death of the mortal form of Adi Shankaracharya. It's a highly symbolic and allegory in which the cinematography is so excellent that in a dialogue happens in which the death gets sort of upset when Adi Shankaracharya embraces moksha, the liberation aspect. But Shankaracharya, being Shankaracharya, he pleasingly convinces death that because he is in the mortal form, he has to have an equanimity towards both that moksha as well as death, as long as he is in that mortal body. And he embraces both of them, and putting his hands on both of them, all the three will walk towards the horizon, towards the Himalayas. So symbolizing the end of the mortal part of Adi Shankaracharya. He becomes one with the cosmic form. So like that, so we should have that equanimity, maturity. That is the next level where the devotion comes. Till we get into that level of maturity, we should have that kind of devotion, and only then it will be the one which will handhold us to cross that fear of accepting Vishwaroopa Darshana as it is. And once we accept it wholeheartedly, we will have the smile as Adi Shankaracharya smiled when he actually interacted with the person symbolizing death. We are in the middle of Mahakumbha Mela now in Prayagraj, we are seeing. And it's very beautiful to see from far away, like this drone picture, which will show thousands and millions of people gathered there. So this is Vishwarupa Darshana. But once we actually go there, immediately our samsara gets kicks in, and we will be looking at where are our belongings, where are our group, where is our group, what should I do next, where to go there, where to take a dip, how to quickly get back, whether my mobile has enough charge or not. So all this will kick in. It's but natural being in samsara, being in this normal mortal format, to think about one aspect of our likes and dislikes, raga and dvesha. But unless we have a parallel track, one more channel in which we are seeing the overall scheme of things, the forest, the sea of humanity, the Vishwarupa, we will be giving undue importance to the nitty-gritties of smaller things in life. The very purpose of having that Vishwarupa Darshana is not just to have some darshana, it is to have that scale of thinking which will trivialize, for obvious reasons, our day-to-day small ups and downs. Then we get into that magnanimous state in which everything gets acceptable as a prasada. So that's the stage of devotion we need to get into. And with the example of what Arjuna is going through, we have to take it as an experiment for our own lives. Without that, we'll be losing the whole idea of the gift to learn for our own inner transformation through Gita. So we should become Arjunas to go through what he has undergone and reflect it in our own lives, like how he came out of that and how we should be coming out of that, holding hands of Krishna. So this is the Vishwarupa Darshana in our real life, which is relevant in our everyday lives. So now we'll see this part of the Vishwarupa Darshana where the Arjuna will be wanting to see the actual original format, the usual format of Sri Krishna. So to see the verse 46 of 11th chapter, Srimati Shamala will take us through.
Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. From verses 36 to 44, Arjuna expresses his appreciation of Vishwarupa and he surrenders at the feet of Bhagavan and also seeks pardon for not having known Krishna's glory and for having treated Krishna lightly and regrets his actions that should not have been done. And in verses 45 and 46, Arjuna expresses his extreme happiness to have had the Vishwarupa Darshanam, as he is such a rare one. Simultaneously, fear is also gripping him while seeing Vishwarupa Darshanam. Since fear dominates over the joy, And over the joy on Arjuna, he requests the Lord to come back to his pleasing form. Next slide, please. Shloka number 46 goes like this. Kiritinam gadinam chakrahastam ichhami tvam drashtumahantataiva tenaiva rupena chaturbhujena sahasrabaho bhava vishwamurte. Tatparya: I wish to see you in the same form as before, with crown, with mace, and with disc in your hand. O Lord, with 1,000 arms, O Lord, with universal form, appear with that very same four-armed form. Next slide, please. Let us understand the verse in detail. In the previous sloka, Arjuna said, Tad eva me darshaya rupam. May you show me that form of universe. Therefore, he says in the 46th sloka, Tvam aham darshitvam ichhami. I would like to see you. Tathaiva. Similarly, same as before. Tenaiva rupena. With your old form only. Eka rupena, Krishna rupena, aham drashtum ichhami. Arjuna wonders whether Krishna clearly understood what he wanted. Therefore, Arjuna wants to make it clear. He says, Kiritinam. So, with Kiritam, crown. Gadinam, with Gada, mace. Chakrahastam, with Chakra, disc. With all these, Chaturbhujena. Lord with 4 hands. Chaturbhuja Rupa. Previously it was Aneka Hastam. Now it is Chaturbhujam. So he himself says, Sahasra Baho. Now you are Sahasra Baho, 1,000 armed one. I want you to be 4-armed one. This is Arjuna's clear request. So, Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena Sahasra Baho Bhava Vishwamurte. Vishwamurtihi means Vishwarupa. Next slide, please. O Vishwarupa Ishvara, I do not want Vishwamurtihi. Tenaiva Rupena Chaturbhujena. In that form that has only 4 hands. Arjuna is familiar with 2 forms of Krishna, one as a friend and the other the form he was invoking for prayer. He wants to see both of these, not the Vishwarupa. Here, Arjuna desires to see the form that he worshipped through Upasana, Chaturbhuja Rupam. In these 2 verses, we gain insight into Arjuna's sadhana and mental state. It is important to understand that witnessing the Ugra Rupa or Vishwarupa or Virat Rupa of Paramatma should not instill fear. Any fear experienced is a reflection of the individual's state of mind. The intention of Paramatma is never to create fear in the heart of a devotee, but rather to inspire reverence and a deeper understanding of the cosmic reality. Next slide, please. Arjuna makes it very clear, may you take away Divya Chakshu from me. And once Divya Chakshu is taken, Bhagavan need not withdraw the Vishwarupam. Once Divya Chakshu is taken, Vishwarupa Ishvara will not be available. Therefore, the difference in Vishwarupam and Ekarupam is not external. Whether I have Divya Chakshu or Laukika Chakshu, the difference is only subjective. So, with this, Arjuna's response to Vishwarupa Darshanam is over. Now, the ball is in Lord Krishna's court. So, therefore, there is some silence because Arjuna has made his request and Lord Krishna has to respond. What is the Lord going to do is given in the next verse. Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you, Srimati Shamala, for that wonderful explanation of Arjuna requesting Shri Krishna to get back to his normal format out of that cosmic form of Vishwarupa. Next, we will go to verse 47, which will be explained by Dr. Sachin Chavre.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. श्रीभगवानुवाच मया प्रसन्नेन तवार्जुनेदं रूपं परं दर्शितम् आत्मयोगात् तेजोमयं विश्वम् अनन्तं यत्यम् यन्मे त्वदन्येन दृष्टपूर्वम्. So the literal meaning is, the Lord said, O Arjuna, by my power, the supreme form has been shown to you, who is pleased with you. Such a form of mine, which is radiant, universal, limitless, and primal, has not been seen by anyone other than you. So actually, after this, uh, the whole this is the climax of bhakti, and this is what a normal individual like us want to see, the highest swarupa of Bhagwan. And after this, actually, the entire rasaswada of Bhagavad Gita is over. There is nothing more to the uh, topic of bhakti. But still, we have one more chapter on bhakti and then six more chapters in Bhagavad Gita. So why? So this verse is the most simplest verse where Krishna says to Arjuna that I have chosen you. You are the chosen one. And because of I am happy with you, prasannena, I am showing you my form. And what is the form? Which is not seen by many of them before. He's trying to exaggerate here, trying to show the importance of seeing Vishwaroopa in one's own life. And as you see in the next slide, it was shown because of the grace, and that grace was nothing but a temporary goggles, like a drishti, which is called divya drishti here, which was given to the student from the teacher, and through that the student learned that this form is something fantastic, marvelous, but yet there are some difficult things to see. And if we go back to the second chapter beginning, the same confusion, horripilation, the, the feeling of uneasy and frightening he had when he was confused about how to go to the war. But that was a different confusion. That was a different time in his understanding. Here he has understood, he has matured through the Bhagavad Gita's teaching, and but still he wants to see Bhagwan in his normal form. Now, what we have to understand by this verse is we too can get the Divya Chakshu by nothing else but understanding the main teaching of Bhagavad Gita, that is Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam. And that's why the next six chapters, the next one and the six chapters are going to teach about. So, what is the so much difficulty in understanding is because we are stuck to the mundane in our life, the daily life, and that's why we come back to the daily samsara. Here, Arjuna, even after knowing that this is the final ultimate goal which he has to see, but still he is afraid, and he also wants to fight now. He's ready, he's matured through the teaching of Krishna, and that's why he asks back the original Swarupa. And now, in the following few more verses, Krishna will tell what is the importance of such a form, the Vishwarupam. Hari Om.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin. So now we are seeing the Sri Krishna replying back to Arjuna for his request to get back to his normal form. And he is explaining how rare it is for somebody mortal to see his actual Vishwarupa. Now going to the next verse number 48, Dr. Rekha will be explaining this verse. Over to Dr. Rekha.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Hari Om. So, just to go back a little bit, so when Arjuna appreciates the Vishwarupa, he goes through three stages of response, as has been already mentioned. The first response is Ascharyam Vismaya, wonderment. The second response is Bhayam, of fear. And the third response is Bhakti, the phase of devotion, which is where we are. So Arjuna sees the Lord as the karma phala data from verse 11.36 onwards. So the Lord's compassion is in the form of the maintenance of the law of karma, and he will not alter the karma phalam. When Arjuna recognizes the Lord as a karma phala data, his attitude changes completely, and Ascharya and Bhayam are replaced by the attitude of surrender, Sharanagati or Bhakti. And this is called the surrender of the free will to the law of karma. Next slide, please. So Krishna wants to highlight bhakti as a method for jnana yogita prapti, which is actually ahankara mamakara dilution. For the sake of underlining or underscoring or highlighting bhakti, he brings down or criticizes all the other sadhanas. And this is called Nahi Ninda Nyayaha, where in a particular context, the scriptures or Mimamsa, they highlight a particular sadhana and they bring down the other sadhanas. So this is only for the purpose of highlighting that particular sadhana. So we should understand that all the sadhanas are important and none can be called inferior, because in other parts of the Gita and in other texts, the very same downgraded ones are actually highlighted. So we understand that whether it's karma yoga or upasana yoga, it is meant for sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. So jnana yogita has many paths and all of them are valid paths. However, we must remember for moksha, there is only one path, and that is jnanam. And for jnanam, there is only one path, which is Guru Shastra Upadesha Shravanam. Next slide, please. So, continuing with Lord Krishna's words in verse 48, Na Veda Yajna Dhyayanir Na Danai, Na Cha Kriyabhir Na Tapobhi Rugraihi. Evam rupam shakya aham nriloke drashtum tvadanyena kuru pravira. So what Lord Krishna says is, neither by the study of the Vedas and Yajnas, nor by charity, nor by rituals, nor by severe austerities can I be seen in this form in the world of mortals by anyone other than you, O Arjuna. So again, highlighting how special Arjuna is. Next slide, please. So coming to the words, meaning of the words, na Veda Yajna Adhyayana, not by chanting the Vedas or the Yajnas, na Danai, nor by Danam or charity, na Kriya, not by any activity, Laukika Karmani, Agnihotra or prescribed duties of each caste, Ugrai Tapobi, not even by severe austerities, tapas. Shakya aham evam rupa drashtum vriloke. So by none of these is it possible to experience this form of mind in this world. Vriloke is in the human world, Manushaloka. Twadanyena he kuru pravira. By anyone other than you, O valorous Kuru. So again, he's telling Arjuna how special he is. Next slide, please. So what we understand is no amount of self-effort is sufficient to bestow a vision of the cosmic form of the Lord. Lord Krishna says only people like you, O Arjuna, can see it, since you have a unique qualification for Vishwaroopa Darshanam. So in the later verses, he will say that this qualification is Tivra Bhakti. So bhakti or surrender alone helps one obtain Vishwaroopa Darshanam through the Divya Chakshu given by divine grace. And the Divya Chakshu really is a mind which is not overpowered by Ahamkara and Mamakara. In the 7th chapter, we have already learned that Sri Krishna has talked about 4 types of bhakti: Artha Bhakti, Artharthi Bhakti, Jignasu Bhakti, and Jnana Bhakti. So which type of bhakti helps in Vishwaroopa Darshanam? It is not Artha Bhakti, because this is a crisis-driven bhakti. It is not Artharthi Bhakti, which is basically to attain more wealth, etc. But the Jignasu Bhakta is one who seeks Ekarupa Ishvara Darshanam through devotion, and he's a mature Bhakta, he's a Mumukshu, and he craves to see Vishwarupa Darshanam, and this is a kind of Bhakta that is the ideal one. Thank you, Hari Om.
Thank you, Dr. Rekha, for that excellent explanation with nice slides about how Krishna is highlighting that exceptional rarity of what Arjuna saw just then. Because to see the Vishwarupa Darshana requires qualification. Somebody should be fully qualified, sadhana chatushaya sampanna. Without being that, it's impossible, whatever you do. It's not some scholarship, it's not something which you read or which you generate through an artificial intelligence, or you gather it from various books in various parts of the libraries of the world. It is something you have to go through, and you have to feel that need within to see. And Arjuna, because he was in this state, in the middle of the war, he was given that exceptional, rare view of cosmic form, Vishwarupa, which was bestowed by Avatara Purusha Sri Krishna temporarily, because for one qualification which cut through the regularity in which somebody will become sadhana chatushaya sampanna. And what was that extreme qualification which pleased Sri Krishna to show his cosmic form? That was Tivra Bhakti. That's what Sri Krishna is highlighting here. He is not taking down other forms, the natural forms of studying Vedas and being under a guru and learning through him. So he is only highlighting the rarity and the exceptional circumstances in which he bestowed uh, Arjuna of his cosmic form, even though for a transient time, because he was pleased by his Tivra Bhakti. This we should remember. And as Dr. Rekha rightly pointed out, the various forms of bhakti we have seen. Artha bhakti, when we cry, "Oh Lord, please help me when we are in trouble." That's artha. To come out of that situation, if we are in a difficult situation, we remember Sankata Bandaga Venkataramana. So that is artha bhakti. So that is only for the purpose of getting out through that crisis. So that's not the bhakti we are looking at. Artharthi bhakti is like, if you help me, God, for to come out of this situation, or if my child gets some to some college or gets married, so then I will do 108 pradakshina, or I will put something into the hundi. So that's artharthi. You are expecting something, and because of that, you are surrendering to the Lord. So it's not that kind of bhakti also, which would take somebody for the Tivra bhakti. The third one is the jignasu. Jignasu is the person who is trying to see a meaning in the mundane aspects of life, and sick and tired of experimenting himself, of his using his own logic to make a meaning of the workings of the world around him. He surrenders to a supreme being in the form of a guru to come out of that situation. Please help me. I am stuck. I totally surrender to you. I am unable to make a meaning out of the things happening around me. That jignyasa should come. Only when somebody is at that level, even then, you can have a rare chance if you have an Avatara Purusha next to you. And when he is fully convinced that you are into the total surrender, if you have that uh, real Jignasu Bhakta, only then we may have a glimpse of Vishwarupa Darshana. Otherwise, you'll have to come through the normal route of sadhana chatushaya sampatti. So this is the gist of what Krishna is highlighting. So we'll see the next verse, number 49, by Miss Vindhya.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Ma te vyata ma cha vimudha bhavo drishtva rupam ghora vidingramedam mamedam vyapeta viprita mana punastvam tadeva me rupamidim idam prapashya. So, chapter 11, verse 49 of the Bhagavad Gita is a comforting statement after Arjuna is overwhelmed by the immense awe-inspiring and terrifying version of Krishna's cosmic form. Be not afraid or bewildered on seeing this dreadful form of mine. Free from fear and with a joyful heart, behold again my familiar form. May you not be mentally pained by my infinite mouths that are crushing people. May you not be overwhelmed or confused. May you come back and recognize my Eka Rupam with a stress free and relaxed mind. Here, Krishna says, Arjuna, if you are not ready for Vishwaroopa Darshanam, I don't want to impose it on you. But what is the significance of this? Why is it that he is now thwarting away from trying to realize and accept this Vishwaroopa Darshanam? Many scholars of Vedanta may not be ready for moksha, either because they are frightened by it, or maybe they require more time to understand it. Maybe because they have other goals before they attain moksha. Next slide, doctor. But why would anyone have any other goal except for moksha? This is because the path of liberation itself is a path of realizing I am Atma Brahman, a path of realizing that you are the higher self. And it is the path itself is Advaita, which means that the spiritual seeker can feel alone. And this is a hard task to do because we like being around people, we're social beings. And thus, if you feel you are not ready for moksha, Krishna says, you don't have to force yourself. Instead, you can work for artha and kama. But he puts a condition whatever you are pursuing, follow dharma. Whatever rewards you get along the path of pursuit of artha and kama, believe that to be Bhagwan's gift. Whenever the time is right, your path will lead you to moksha. Another learning from this verse could be about spiritual balance, where even in the face of overwhelming experiences, you can return to inner peace and a joyful state of mind by realizing that you are in control of the world around you. Hari Om.
Thank you, Vindhya, for bringing this aspect in which we again highlight the various different levels of spiritual journey of various people. Nobody is discouraged to continue their spiritual journey, whatever their needs are and wherever they stand. That's why all the pursuits of human life, of human form, of every being, every human being in this world are divided right in Tattva Buddha into four. What are they? Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. If one is not yet ready for moksha, but for various needs, being in samsara, being a gruhastha, there may be a need to satisfy the needs of not just him, but for the society, for the family around him. So pursuing artha and kama is not a no-no in the Vedantic way of life. But with the precondition, as Vindhya mentioned, that should be within the confines, boundaries of what dharma is established. And what is dharma? To put it simply, those are the values which will make sure the society is in harmony. Those are the values which will not restrict the free will and independence of the people around you, which will not go against the natural progression of harmony, which is a kind of, which is already in existence. As long as that is satisfied, you are free to pursue this part of Purusharthas, that is Artha and Kama, for as long as you wish. Even it may extend to the next Janma if it happens so. But with the condition that you should follow Dharma, and whatever comes out of it, you should take it as Prasada Bhavana. Whatever happens, whatever you do it for the Supreme Lord, or that Supreme Consciousness which you believe in, which is running the show, which is beyond your logical capacity of understanding. And whatever is given back to you. Whatever is bestowed on you, you take it as a prasada from the divinity which is existent in that Vishwarupa around us. And then there will be definitely a day in which you will be thinking about moksha, the liberation, which is just a matter of time. It is certain that each one of us will get there, but only question is when. So with this, we go to the next verse, verse 50, which will be explained by Sri Vinayakan.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namah. So 50th verse. So here Sanjaya is reporting. Sanjaya Uvacha Ityarjunam Vasudevastadoktvā Swakam Rūpam Darshayamasa Bhūyaha Ashvasamayasa cha Bhidamenam Bhūtva Punah Saumya Vapur Mahatma. So little meaning, Sanjaya said, having said thus to Arjuna, Lord Krishna showed again his own form, and having assumed the pleasing form once again, the great Lord consoled that frightened Arjuna. So Arjuna requested Lord Krishna to change the form, and the transformation is taking place from Anekarupa to Ekarupa. So here Swamiji says, sir, next slide. Vishwarupa is equal to the universe, and the Divya Chakshu means a mind which is not overpowered by Ahankara and Mamakara. As long as the mind is in the grip of Aham and Mama, Vishwarupa Darsana will not be there. I will not see the totality. My mind will be narrow only. When Aham and Mama goes away, Vishwarupa comes. Here, because of Arjuna's mental immaturity, he was not able to appreciate Vishwarupa in its totality. Because Vishwarupam is a picture of both positive and negative things. Because as long as we are in the relative world, everything has got its opposites. Means Vishwarupa is itself is the Dvanda. If the Lord has to be the Srishtikaranam, very same Lord will be the Laya Karanam also. Lord will give both Punya Karma Phalam and Papa Karma Phalam. So if I learn to appreciate in its totality, I will not see them as pairs of opposite, but I will see them as complementary. But an immature mind only wants the positive aspect of the creation. Withdrawal of Vishwarupa Darshana means removal of Divya Chakshu. Divya Chakshu means nothing but freedom from Ahankara and Mamakara. Through withdrawal of Divya Chakshu, Arjuna is getting back his Ahankara and Mamakara. This is next slide, sir. So the Pada Parijaya goes like this. So Sanjay is giving the running commentary here. Vasudeva Arjunam iti uktva. Lord Krishna uttered these words to Arjuna. Swagam Rupam Darshayamasa. So once again he showed Ekarupa Krishna form to Arjuna. So Swagam Rupa means Ekarupa, Krishna Rupam. Avashyamasa enam bhidam. Even after changing the form from Anekarupam to Ekarupam, Arjuna's fear continues for some more time. So Lord Krishna consoles the frightened Arjuna. Saumya Vapu Bhutva. Previously it was Ghoram Rupam. Now Ghora Rupa is replaced by Saumya Rupam. This is the meaning of this verse. Thank you, sir. Hari Om.
Thank you, Vinayakan, for that elaborate description of the last verse of today. Now we are, along with Arjuna, back to the normal form which Arjuna was used to, from Vishwarupa to the form which he initially started with. So what we have to keep in mind for today is that good and bad divides the world. Now, when we want to see the whole universe as Advaita, as a whole, and that an element of that totality is manifesting through us in this body, the least we should be able to see and accept is the pairs of opposites, what are quite natural, should amalgamate, should get mixed up, get hazy, and get blurred as we mature spiritually. It's enough to remember like how Arjuna was exposed but was not ready, that black and white, good and bad, they are complementary. Good and evil, beautiful, ugly, all these pairs of opposites, though it looks like we are conditioned to accept only what is pleasing to us, but we have to go to the next level in which we should be ready to see the universe as Vishwarupa. So that's the gift for today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Komal sir, and to all the speakers of today for a wonderful session and explaining the last but one session of the Vishwarupa Yoga. And in the next session, we will conclude the 11th chapter. Sincere thanks to all the Vedantins who have joined us in the session today. Friends, please remember to log in at 6:45 p.m. on Friday, the 14th February, for the 10th session of Atma Bodha and benefit from the enlightening knowledge expounded by Bhagavad Pada Adi Shankara. Let us chant the Shanti Mantra and conclude today's session. पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।